Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to St. John United Church of Christ. I'm Pastor Jana Myers, and I am so glad that you have decided to start your morning with us here. Every Sunday morning, we take time to do our Sunday school devotion, and it is a wonderful way to carve out a few minutes of reflection before the bigness and collectiveness of worship. Because here, it's just you and I having a conversation, thinking about faith, wondering together. And there's something so personal and special about it. And I am so grateful that you have decided to do that with me. Otherwise, it's just me on the internet by myself, which is definitely more vulnerable and less fun. So thank you. Thank you for making this a moment that is sacred and holy by your presence. As we reflect this morning, we're going to be using a reflection written by Anna Cansfield, written for the UCC Daily Devotionals. Each Sunday, we are using the daily devotionals as a way of reflecting and collecting our thoughts before worship. This morning, we have one published from November 10th, 2021. So it was a while ago, but it's definitely worth our time and reflection. You can find it in your weekly email, which comes out every Thursday. You can also find it on the Church Family Facebook page, our Big Church Facebook page, as well as on the UCC Daily Devotional webpage, published on November 10th, written by Anna Cansfield, and entitled Praying All the Time. Just look for any one of those, the title, Praying All the Time, the author, Anna Cansfield, or the publication date, November 10th, at ucc.org, Daily Devotional, and you'll be able to find it. But if you don't want to read and you just want to listen, open your ears and let us begin together. Our focus verse this morning is Ephesians 6, verse 18. Pray in the Spirit at all times, in every prayer and supplication. To that end, keep alert and always preserve in the supplication for all the saints. My friend and fellow UCC pastor, Micah Busey, writes tiny prayers. Tiny prayers. He shares them on Twitter. They're short and random. And every time I read them, I think, wow, I could never write such a great prayer. You see, I'm intimidated by prayer. I want it to be neat and tidy with words that make sense. But most of the time, I don't have words. I have a mix of feelings, or at other times, there's nothing at all. If we are to pray at all times, we have to allow ourselves some run-on sentences, some messy thoughts. Our whole lives are lived as a great, big, giant, messy prayer. Sometimes within that, we need to pray the words that others write. Thank God for the tiny prayers written by friends. Sometimes we have to sit down with ourselves and God in silence. And sometimes we have to live out the prayers in our actions. The desire to pray is itself a prayer. And sometimes we live out that prayer in our actions, and that's enough. I love the idea of tiny prayers for a few reasons. One, the longer that you are a pastor, you sometimes find that prayers get longer and longer and longer. But just because prayers get longer doesn't mean they get better. And the idea of tiny prayers, quick utterances that get us right back to the point of what we're supposed to be doing, that is intriguing. That is exciting. It's also something that I, like our author, am not very good at, because my life, like hers, is most definitely one big, giant, messy, run-on sentence prayer. My life is not organized. It's not put together. It is not a pithy one-sentence prayer published for the world to see on Twitter. My life is a bit more of the chaotic and the crazy. The prayer that you're not really sure always where it's going. If I had to guess, I would guess that your life, if honestly reflected, was a bit like mine, not quite like the pithy, clean presented Twitter prayer. And I don't say that because I don't think your lives are not organized and wonderful. I say that because most lives, when looked at honestly, are messy and complicated and running on. And that's good because we aren't something small and tidy, organized and fit to be presented. We are God's beloved creations, made in all the complexity and power of a godly made thing. And that is complicated and messy and run on. But in our complicated and messy run on ways, I would like us to find more moments to utter tiny prayers. I would like us to find more moments where we can ground our messiness, ground our complicated run-on lives with touchstones that bring us back to the point of our creation and our lives, which is to be lovers of justice, carers of community, servers of neighbor, hospitable hosts that lead others to joy and God. And sometimes, maybe, our run-on messy ways feel so overwhelming that we forget to pray. That we forget that even when it's not Sunday, there is time for God if we would but stop and let it be. So maybe, I will hazard a guess, you don't feel confident in writing your own tiny prayers. But maybe it is possible for you to set a timer on your watch or your phone to go off twice a day. If you have a phone like mine, you can write what you want the alarm to be, and you could just write, say a prayer. And you set it for twice a day, maybe like 10 and 2, or I don't know, something that would interrupt your day. And when it goes off, all you have to say is one sentence. Whatever is on your mind. You can start it with, "Oh God." And then how are you feeling? Check in with yourself and say, "I am feeling so busy right now. Help me. Amen." Or maybe you're getting caught in the middle of the best conversation you've had with a friend you haven't seen in 50 years. And you say, "Oh God, thank you for this friend. Amen." What if you wrote your own tiny prayers based on whatever moment was facing you? Even if it was, "Oh God, I have nothing to say." Amen. Because you see, finding those moments of touchstone, finding those moments to come back in from your messy run-on ways, to ground yourself for just a few sentences, can reorder the messy, can punctuate the run-on, can ground the chaos in connection with the Creator. So I think it's worth trying, even if you just take it on for one day. But maybe you could take it on for a few and just see if maybe you could work to ground yourself in prayer twice a day. 2 whole sentences. Just in response to this Sunday school, you've probably uttered more than that. What would it look like? What times would you set? What would you say? How would you feel when it was over? Would you want to keep talking and be sorry that it was done, or feel like one whole sentence was more than you needed? I would be so interested to share a conversation with you. But the person or the being that it will be better to converse with is our Creator, is to take time in prayer with God. So take a few moments every day, for maybe a whole week, say a sentence and end in amen. If my prayer alarm were to go off right now, I would say, "Oh God, thank you for my online church. They bring me joy every day. Amen. Now we have a chance to pray together too. So if you want to read along, you can, or you can just listen. Let the tiny prayers, the big messy prayers, the silent yearning prayers, and the inaction prayers be enough, God, for you and for me. Amen. Set that alarm. Make those tiny prayers a reality and see where it takes you. I hope that it brings you back here for worship at 10 o'clock this morning and every Sunday morning. But if it doesn't, I will be very curious to know where your tiny prayers have sent you. We'll be here worshiping, and I hope you will join us. You still have time to jump in your car and drive over, or take a potty break and come back here and join us online. I'll see you soon.